Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys doing fantastic. Listen, yes, pre-recorded video, but the information is very relevant. We should be back in the office by the time the new videos roll out, with everything back to the original setup, which is what we love to see. Listen, we're going to be talking about the market conditions, generally speaking. I believe more or less, right? The worst is behind us. I mean, everything suggests the worst is behind us, the global liquidity, this structure, and we're all going to break it down. We're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. Big shout out to Uber Eats for sponsoring this video. First 50 people get $20 off their first 2 meals, which means you can literally eat for free. Just use the code on your screen or the link in the description below. I believe now and maybe the few next short weeks are probably gonna be your final times to be buying coins for how cheap they are. Because you gotta remember that once kind of altcoins start accelerating, they really accelerate. And I'm gonna show you proof, okay? So first, let's talk about Bitcoin and global liquidity. If you don't know, Bitcoin lags behind global liquidity. There's some people that argue, well, saying, oh, hey, well, look at this, look at that, Bitcoin's actually the leading indicator and then global liquidity is behind. No, I don't buy it, okay? Look, boom, if we take it from the top to the last green weekly candle, we can see 91 days, right? We can see this was a top, it sold off. After it sold off, boom, if we take it from the bottom to the last red candle, guess what? 91 days, okay? Now we do have a decent top over here of global liquidity, sorry. We are having a little bit of a pullback, but I do expect it to continue to be going up because the news I've been hearing from America, crypto, everything on Twitter, and just from other news sites, from governments, countries, it's just been super bullish, right? If you want me to start covering news maybe once a day, maybe once every 2 days, we can start doing that as well, okay? So look, ladies and gentlemen, right? Look, right? We can see that if we take it from the top, right? If we take it from the top of the global liquidity and we go out to roughly 91 days, we can see at the bottom it says mid-July. So that is where possibly we could be kind of starting to top out before the big massive pumps. Now, I overall expect to be getting nice big pumps over the next few months, right? Maybe on the micro move, 2 weeks here, 1 week there, we might be sideways or a little bit down, but overall it should be up, okay? Look, in terms of the fundamentals, in terms of candles, everything is looking great. We know that when we reach the previous all-time high and we start to go back, that we started to consolidate on the all-time highs from last cycle, okay? We were saying this consistently on the channel. The only thing I got wrong that time was I believed it was just going to take, 3 to 4 months, while it took more like 7.5. So the timing was off, but the message was the same, okay? The message was the same, and we can see, boom, we burst it up all the way pretty much to $110,000, more like 109.5, but whatever. We can see, so we had a high, we had a low, we had a higher high, and now we created a higher low. What does that look like, ladies and gentlemen? Well, if you do something like this, that looks like a staircase, right? You have a bottom, you have a high, you have a higher bottom, you have a higher high. So, it's a staircase upwards. Very bullish, right? When we go to the 3 months, right? Even just this 3-month candle alone really was just more of a pullback retest, right? From the candles, I've seen so many candles in my life. I was like, yeah, this is not a top candle. This is not a top candle. This candle over here on the 3-month last cycle, this was a bullish candle that ended up super weak at one point. That was bad. That was bad. That was reversal signs 10%, right? 110 million percent on the 3-month chart. Here, nothing. So it's looking fantastic, right? Overall, we were talking about this 4 weeks now. We expected April, May, June to mainly be the recovery candles, and that is exactly what is happening, right? Because March, February, why am I going backwards? March, February, January were this sell-off, the retest. We talked about how there's probably going to be a liquidity sweep, right? Which is just sweeping the lows, which it took out the 3-month, it took out the monthly, it took out the weekly. Exactly happened like that. Boom, we went lower, manipulated to then go higher, right? So now what do I expect? Well, overall, our mission is kind of done, right? Overall, for April, May, June, we are pretty much done with the goal. I do think there's a chance we go higher, but overall, the purpose of these 3-month candles were so we go to all-time highs and kind of create a foundation, whether it is on the literal all-time highs, whether it is slightly lower, let's just say between like 98 and 102K. Overall, that was the whole purpose of these last 3 months, to kind of go up and then kind of consolidate before the big bang. Okay, before the big bang. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if out of, in the next couple months, if there's 1 week that seems very, very scary for just a moment, maybe 1 day, maybe literally a couple hours, because I would not be surprised if there's some next level manipulation before we finally burst up, as there usually is. Okay, last time before we exploded, right? Boom, green candle. People said, oh, we got baited, right? It was a pretty candle, but the fundamentals still show that we should be going higher. And then guess what? Next couple weeks, it was just green, 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 green. So overall, I do expect for us to kind of slow down, build a nice floor, right? If we continue to push higher in May or June, fantastic. If we overall stay between 100K and 110K and we start building a foundation, perfect, because the next 3 months should be massive, massive gains. I overall expect altcoin season to happen, late summer, mid to late summer to early mid fall, right? Like that July to October window is going to be my main window that I'm looking for to be cashing out. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should have, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets, okay? Yes, there's a chance we could go even to November and stuff, but based off the 3-month candles, based off the global liquidity, based off what I'm seeing, I do believe the first peaks will be there. Now let's talk about Bitcoin dominance. We talked about Bitcoin dominance going back down to 62%, all the way possibly down to 60%. And we can see we did hit the 62% mark, okay? Now we do have to monitor everything to see if it's, hey, is this a bounce back to eventually break this high over here? Confirm new structure like this, go up higher, then go back lower, and then like this, right? Creating a higher high than this, creating a higher low than this, and then going back up. Or is this simply just a slight pullback, right? A slight pullback to then eventually sell even harder in terms of Bitcoin dominance, okay? We know there's going to be some type of pullback, right? We called it out in the Discord when it was really, I got 64.5%. I said, yeah, guys, it's a very heavy sell-off. We're going to go back down to this percent, okay? We kind of had something like this back in December where we were at almost 62% and we dropped all the way to 55%, which is when altcoins jumped a lot, which is what the final thing will be on this video. Altcoins jump a lot. Bitcoin dominance roughly dropped 7%, a little bit less than 7. And we can see render went from $4, right? $4.20 all the way upwards of practically $12. Okay. So, 6.5% and render went up $8, a little bit less than $8. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So it really does just show me that when Bitcoin dominance is going to melt in the future for altcoin season, we are not going to be prepared with how great these gains are. I know some people are disappointed, right? I know some people are disappointed with, where the, tokens are currently, but overall, I am super, super confident that we are going to have a great cycle. I really, really am. Okay, I really, really am. So, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to join the Discord community, especially if you want a portfolio review. Now is going to be the most important time, right? Because when things are blowing up, that's not when you want to be switching your coins. Now is, right? While it's a little bit more silent this week, maybe possibly next week. And yeah, that is it. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.